G'day everyone, welcome to another Toon podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's biggest and best Newcastle United podcast. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're here to talk about and celebrate the Newcastle United win against Chelsea. I'm joined by Dimmy. How are you, mate?
Very tired, mate, but still basking in the glory of being third and going to enjoy the next month and a half till the league is back, just soaking up the top four mags.
Yeah, top three mags.
Top three.
Yeah, it's always the lowest number. So yeah, so we're top three, not top four.
Still trying to process it. Mate.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Like, it's really weird. Like, I don't know, it's just years of being shit, and it's hard to rub off.
It is.
And it's hard to get used to winning. Like, do you feel the same?
It's hard to get used to winning. It's hard to, I mean, if we didn't know we were playing Chelsea this morning, we would have thought the way we dominated, and we'll talk about the game in a sec, but the way we dominated and pressed them and didn't give them any chances, you thought we were playing like an Everton or a Bournemouth or a lower ranked Premier League team. We just imposed our will, and I think it's probably now it's 14, 15 games into the season. I think we're definitely a top, I don't know, six side at least, and definitely can compete with
for sure
the upper teams in the league.
Yeah, but I think that's what you expect. I guess when you play mid-table teams at home, like, you expect to dominate them and things like that. So it's it's just fun looking down on people, and it shouldn't have come.
Oh mate, don't worry, I've got
much surprise.
Exactly. Like I've said previously, I've got plenty of receipts of people who've been giving us shit for so many years, and I'm not cashing them in quite yet, but they're definitely on the radar.
Oh yeah. I'm pulling them out of the folder too, just lining them up, ready to just remember this. Oh no, nah. Yeah, well I did, and guess what? Use the shit, and we're good. So take that.
Exactly.
For anyone who's watching and stuff like that, if you could give us a like in the just under the video there. If you want to leave a comment, we'll get to as many questions as possible before Dimmy falls asleep. And also, if you want to sign up, we've got a membership program going now. It's $1.49 a month in Australia, or 85 pence a month in the UK. It gives you a few perks and stuff like that. And I think we're going to be working some stuff over the World Cup break, and hopefully we can launch that during that time as well. So you guys will get first access to that, and we'll go from there. What do you reckon, Dimmy? Get stuck into the lineups. We'll start with ours. So as predicted by most, I reckon we just the one change or the two. Actually, we predicted the one change that Big Joe was going to come back in for Jacob Murphy, but there was that illness cloud over Callum Wilson all week, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was when I think Eddie said he was still training away from the group late in the week. So obviously he had, I don't know if it was COVID or he had a bad case of the flu or gastro or whatever he had, but whatever he had, obviously didn't have enough in his legs to go 90 minutes. So in came Kiwi Chris Wood, and I mean he was okay. He did a job, but obviously a much different team, not much different proposition. I think we are up front with Wilson there compared to what Chris Wood gives us.
Yeah, were you surprised? Anything else, or you thought it like nothing really stood out when this came out at 3:30?
I wasn't really surprised. I was hoping that I don't know, hoping's the right word, but I thought maybe big game, last game before the World Cup break, I thought maybe we might unleash Maxi. He's been patiently waiting for his chance to start. He's been coming off the bench the last couple of games, so I thought potentially he could be a shout to start, and we put Joe Linton back in the midfield with Bruno and Willick. But it's hard to drop Longstaff. It's hard to drop any of the players at the moment. So unfortunately for Maxi, he's had to wait his time, and turned out this morning I don't think he even got on the pitch at the end. So so he's gonna have to wait his time until after the World Cup break to make an impact again.
Yeah, I've actually got him on the running sheet, so we'll sort of digest the game and stuff like that. And yeah, there's a couple of little things I'd like to speak about with Alan. So yeah, there should be a good chat. Hopefully, we'll get a few responses from some of the listeners or the watchers. Sorry. So yeah, it's probably the best 11 we had. Do you reckon at the moment? Given Wilson's, he's obviously been crook for a bit over a week now because he come off at halftime down in Southampton as well. So
I think
they're very cagey with their injuries and things.
Yeah, pending fitness, I think it was probably the best team. I mean, Maxi, you'd think all things being equal, is in our best team, but on form and on the fact that the other guys who've come in since he's been out have taken their chance, obviously he's not. He's at the moment you can't put him in, and similar to what we had last year with Bruno when we won 5 games in a row and Bruno couldn't get in when he first signed for us. So it's a bit similar to that, but yeah, I think business as usual for us, and I mean, it's amazing that these guys have been playing two games a week or been giving 90 minutes of absolute heart every game, and they're still pressing. We're still doing everything for the full game yesterday, which was fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Just for our audio listeners who will catch this later on, I'll just read the 11 out. We had Nick Pope, Trippier, Sharp, Botman, Byrne as a back 4, Bruno, Longstaff, and Willick in the midfield 3, and Almiron, a freshly clean swept Miguel Almiron, Joel Linton on the left, and Chris Wood up front. And on the bench, we had Darlow, Lascelles, Shelby, Wilson, St. Maximum, Target, Manquillo, and I think it might have been, was it Anderson as well on the bench? I think I've seen him in the photos. Murphy, yeah, I can't see because of the ticker. So, yeah, we'll jump over to Chelsea's team. I think they had 4 changes from their game against Arsenal last week. Obviously, they changed it up a bit during their midweek game as well, just like we did. So I'm not really reading too much into their League Cup team. I'd rather focus on their Premier League team. So they actually had, like I said, 4 changes, which was Aubameyang, Havertz, Sterling, and Thiago Silva were all out, and incoming Breuer, Gallagher, Hall, and Kovacic. So what did you make of their team, Dimmy? Was it sort of what you expected, or was it a bit sort of unexpected?
Yeah, I was a bit surprised, to be honest. I was not expecting Breuer to start up front. I thought Aubameyang or Havertz would be starting up front, just knowing how Chelsea have played historically this season and last season as well. So that was a bit of a shock. And obviously, when you see no Sterling on the team sheet, I'm pretty sure he scored about 15 goals against us in his career. So it's not seeing him on the team sheet's always good. And I mean, the rest of the team, obviously they've got quality. They've got international caps between most of those players. But I mean, we're Newcastle now. We're not scared of anybody. We don't care who comes to St James's Park. We don't care who's on their team sheets. We'll take them on man for man, and more times than not, we're getting the chocolates.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere, as you do post game, you sort of read and watch as much as you can on social media. I think part of the reason with the change was Potter was really worried about our midfield, and he wanted an extra number in there to try and outnumber us and control the game a bit more. But obviously, yeah, that didn't work out too well for him because they were pretty dog shit the whole game. So his thinking might have been right, but the execution wasn't quite there. I'll get into that for a second. So first half, how did you sort of feel the first half went?
It was up and down, to be honest. I thought we started pretty well, not creating much, but our intensity was fantastic. Chelsea barely made 2 or 3 passes. We didn't have that final ball, that final quality we could sort of really test their goalkeeper. I don't think Mendy had a save to make in the first half. I think our only shot in the first half might have been Miggy's volley or strike over the bar. So I didn't think that we were probably capitalising on the ball that we had and capitalising on the pressure we were creating. But in saying that, I didn't feel threatened the other way. So I definitely thought at half time, the game's there to be won. Chelsea, I mean, on name, on paper, you'd fear Chelsea, but on this performance, there wasn't too much to fear, to be honest.
Yeah. What impressed you from more so from our point of view? What impressed you in the first half?
Oh, our intensity, mate. Our intensity has been impressing me all season. To be honest, it's the cohesion that we've got with the press. Like I think Shearer mentioned it on Match of the Day last night as well. How it's not just the first guy who gets out; it's the second guy, it's the third guy. They're all pressing in waves. So it's a very cohesive unit. It's not just a defense are defending and everyone else does their own thing. It's everyone is defending. Everyone's, when we lose the ball, is pressing, and the intensity that we show. I mean, we drop it off maybe for five to 10 minutes each half, which is obviously as expected. You can't go 100 miles an hour for 45 minutes, but the intensity that we showed for the majority of the half was very impressive. And yeah, we just probably lacked that final ball. I think Bruno was a little bit off in the first half. His passes in behind were a little bit misweighted and couldn't really get Miggy in behind as we normally would. So that was something to improve. But yeah, intensity wise, nothing to fault with the lads.
Yeah, the thing that stood out was our intensity and our pressing, but it wasn't just the front three. They actually, if you watch it properly, especially the middle, which was normally Chris Wood, he actually attacked whoever was in the middle. He didn't run at him straight on. He actually went to a side to sort of force him to pass to the other side, which made it easier for the three blokes behind him to read the cues and actually get over there and shut that down. And it stood out as soon as they took an extra touch in our half. Like we were on them, and it was turnover or it was a straight pass. We get the ball back. Like it was phenomenal. Like I didn't think I've seen anything or I probably hadn't seen anything to that level where everyone was on the same page and it was constant. Like it wasn't just a small sort of spurt of 10 minutes, retreat, have a bit of a rest, go again. It was just constant bang, 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 bang. So that really stood out for me the first half. And like I said earlier, I'm still in that not denial phase, but the phase of you're waiting for something shit to happen. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna blow up here after an hour, or like, so, like you're not conditioned as
It's
like
too
this
good
is
to be
normal
true.
now. Yeah, this isn't us. Like we're normal, but yeah, but like you said, there wasn't much in the way of incidents or sort of goal mouth action in the first half, but there was one incident I want to touch on just before the halftime whistle. This handball here, it's very contentious. What was your initial thought?
Initially, I thought handball definitely because he slid and he's blocked the cross from coming in. So initially, I thought handball. Seeing the replay, I still think handball, to be honest, because I mean, a natural position isn't sliding on your ass and doing a move or whatever Chalaba's trying to do there. That's not a natural position. So your natural position is to stand on your feet and defend on your feet, not on the ground. So the fact that he's put his arm down to help him balance himself is besides the point. He's blocked the cross. The cross is coming in, and it's hit his hand. So for me, it's a pretty clear handball, and I'd hazard a guess, not to be the conspiracy theorist again, but I'd hazard a guess that there'll be a lot of incidents this season where teams in the so-called Big Six will get a similar decision go their way from that exact action. It's something that you can't really argue is a natural position. I mean, you're lying on the floor basically, as you can see from that still shot, if you're watching us on YouTube, he's lying on the floor, trying to prevent the cross from Dan Burn, I think it was. So yeah, so
hand is on the ground and the ball's been kicked into his arm, which like his arm that's propping him up, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. So I initially 100% agreed with you. I thought that was pretty obvious. His hand was sort of away from his body, unnatural position, clearly stopped the trajectory of the ball going where it was going until post game. I was on Twitter, as you do, like I said, scrolling and just lapping up every bit of information. And a friend of the pod, Adam Peacock, tweeted that the actual rule in that situation is if the opposition player's hand is on the ground and the ball hits that arm, it's not a handball. That's the law. And if you actually watch the replay, it's pretty much, I can't remember what play. It might have been Longstaff that went up to the official and sort of, like, why isn't that handball? Like, he clearly hit it. And the ref motions that his hand was on the ground. So if you get a chance to watch the replay again, fast forward to, I think, 43 minutes, just to be safe. I can't remember the exact minutes that it happened, but you'll only have to watch 2 or 3. And when the incident happens, the ref says, like, no, his hand was on the ground. So it's by the definition of the handball rule, it's not a penalty, which, that's why it wasn't given. If his hand was off the ground, 100%, it would have been given, no doubt. But don't blame the referee, blame the stupid handball.
Well, that's
rule.
a stupid law. Yeah, it's a stupid law.
Yeah,
just another one. I mean, and it's not a natural. I mean, looking at that photo, it's not a natural position. If he's not supposed to be sliding on the floor, trying to block crosses and make tackles. That's not a natural act. So, I mean, if that's what the law says, fair enough. We'll take that. But that seems very very sketchy to me.
Yeah, it's just a shit law. If you're watching and you've got anything to say about it in the comments, please chuck it in and we'll read your best ones out on it. We won't read the best ones. We'll probably read them all out. Let's be honest. So that was half time, and like you said, I thought we were definitely the better team of the first half. We had them on the back foot pretty much the whole half as well, and like you said, we just couldn't get that sort of final pass to create and give Mendy sort of something to think about. But then after half time, man, that first 15 minutes after, like I said, I thought the first 45 was as good as we've gone. And I reckon we turned it up another couple of levels that first 15 minutes after halftime. The intensity was through the roof. And I'm not sure if it was probably a combination of things. I think of last game before a break, leave it all, like empty your tank out. St James's Park under lights is a different beast as well. And definitely maybe a little bit of wise words and tactical changes and some positive reinforcement that what we're doing is working from the coaching staff at halftime. And then, man, that first 15 minutes it was savage. Like, no team, there would have been hardly any team in the world that could have sort of stopped what we were doing that first 15 minutes.
Oh, it was unreal. It was relentless. It was wave and wave and wave of attack. I think there was a space where I think we had 3 chances within about 30 seconds at one point. I think Bruno had a shot blocked, Longstaff had a shot blocked, and then Longstaff
hit that one over the bar. Yeah.
I
thought that was it. Like,
yeah.
I thought, like, that's us cashing in our tickets for just dominating now, and we're actually going to get a scoreboard result for it. We're going to start the score sheets, and then, and it just went over, and I'm like was that the one, like, that could have broken the camel's back, but it just went over. So, I thought that was the one.
The start of the half. I mean, it's not unusual for us this season to come out hard in the second half. I mean, we saw against Villa where we scored, I think, 3 goals or 4 goals within about 10 or 15 minutes against Villa. It was similar sort of all-out relentless attack, and obviously Villa aren't as good as Chelsea. They just completely caved in. Chelsea were trying to cave in, but we were just about hanging on until obviously the goal that we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, I mean, that intensity, you're right. Not many teams in world football are going to be able to handle it. I'm pretty sure we had a similar period against City in the first half, though, when we played them back at St James's started.
Yes.
Where I reckon
that was
for about 10 minutes, we had about 80% of the ball. It was just complete domination, suffocation of City.
We just battered them. Yeah. Shout out to Craig too, who's donated $5. Absolutely love that shit, Craig.
Legend.
And you're right. Yeah, King Eddie is a god. If he'll have a statue by the end of the year if he keeps going. Make sure it's on club land so they don't have to move it again. Just before the goal though, Nick Pope made a great diving save to a Conor Gallagher shot, just sort of probably central of the goal, and curled it with his right foot. It was definitely going in the bottom half of the net, and that was a great. Yeah, I think he had a good view of it though, but still, it was a good shot and it was a great save to keep it at 0-0.
Yeah, it was a quality save. I don't think the shot had power, but it was definitely going in. So Pope had to time his jump and had to get a strong hand on it to push it away. It was a bit of a comedy capers, that section, because I think Trippier started by giving the ball away. He then won it. Then Bruno gave it away, and then we almost conceded. So it was a bit of a sloppy 15 seconds for us, which almost cost us, because that was virtually Chelsea's only attack of the half up to that point. And it would have been a really tough pill to swallow if they scored then, after all the hard work and all the domination we had. If they were going to pinch a goal there, that would have been hard to take.
Yeah, it was a great save, and definitely he didn't have much to do, Nick, which he's probably getting used to that by now. The most thing he done,
but that's
for
why,
the last month, I reckon.
That's why you got a great keeper like correct. But that's why you have a good keeper like Pope, who, when the time comes to make that 1 or 2 saves that you need to,
he's just there.
He does it. And that's the sign of a great keeper. I mean, there's some keepers we've had in the past who are obviously good keepers as well, but they're being tested a lot because we're shit and we're having 20, 25 shots against us each game. But for me, the real sign of a great goalkeeper is there's only 1 or 2 chances they might face each game, but they're there to make the save when the time comes. And he did it, and kept the score at parity.
Yeah. So then a couple of minutes later was what turned out to be the winning goal. Miggy, I'm not sure who was the defender. Was it
Koulibaly?
I can't remember who the defender. It was Koulibaly. Yeah. So he sort of hedged his bets a bit. He didn't want to commit to his left foot where he was going to skid him and hit one of the same goals he's hit about 15 times already this year. Miggy sort of I reckon he could have scun him inside, and then similar to the Tottenham goal, got back on his left once he got past him, because there was no one behind him and he had a bit of space there, but his confidence is sky high. So he's taken a touch across the face of goal on his left foot, and that sort of I reckon he was just about to have one more touch before the shot, sort of middle of the D, I guess. And it was a heavy touch, and Willock's come in from the other side and kind of like reverse Miggied. I'd probably call it the right footed shot on the other side of the keeper, which Mendy got nowhere near, and it was a great finish. Like, it was a top class finish, and it proved to be the difference. Like, how did you see the goal, and how do you mute your reaction at it's probably 5:30 in the morning when we've just taken a 1-0 lead against Chelsea at home, and the TV is rock. Like, you can hear the atmosphere and the buzz through the TV, like on the other side of the world, and then you've got to try and keep your shit together because your missus is asleep or your kids are asleep. Like, it's bloody hard.
Well, in terms of the reaction, I thought I kept my voice down, but even my mimicking of going wild, that sound, apparently I woke up my missus too, so that wasn't great. And like like you guys know, we obviously had a wedding last night and had a late night as well, so it wasn't the best thing to do to the missus off a couple of hours sleep. But no, that goal goes in. You can't. What are you supposed to say? You can't just sit there and saying, "Oh yeah, nice goal, well done, Joe." That goal is an absolute how it's. I mean, we seem to be scoring stunning goals every week or every second week. I mean, the goal of the season compilation for us, or the best goals or all goal
the
DVD
highlights
that comes out
DVD.
for us.
I don't know
the
if they
highlights
still do
DVDs. Yeah. Well, if there's a DVD of all goals we've scored this year, it's going to be a cracking DVD.
Yeah, I actually went. I was looking at my DVD cabinet the other day, and I was going to put on one of my old Newcastle DVDs, and then the DVD player wasn't working. I'm like, oh shit, I need a new DVD player. Looked like Kmart, nothing. JB Hi-Fi, nothing. I'm like, Target, nothing. I'm like, man, like they used to be $25-$30 in every store like that. Now I can't find one anywhere to play my DVDs.
Well, the PS3 or PS4, if you got one, the PlayStations won't play
I sold it.
There you go. Well, then you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that.
Yeah.
I had the same problem. I was watching. Oh, it would have been a few months ago. I was watching the Championship season review DVD that Newcastle released, and it was like all the goals and highlights. 09-10, the first one, the first promotion.
Banana Kid, the Banana Away
that one,
Kid.
correct? The Banana
season,
Kid, yeah. And obviously I don't have a DVD player, but I chucked it into the PlayStation. It was working a treat. But going back to the goal, I think it was Joe Linton with a beautiful through ball over the top of of Koulibaly that Miggy ran on. But like you said, his confidence is sky high. I think as soon as he got behind Koulibaly and he headed the ball to himself, he had one thing in mind, and he thought, I'm going to cut into my left and I'm going to do a Leo Messi and I'm going to put this top corner again. And you're right, that last touch, he just was too heavy for him. And then Willock's just come in and he's just leathered the ball, top corner. And Mendy, it's gone past Mendy before he's even seen it. So, wild scenes at St. James's and wild scenes at Chapel Road and Moorabbin as well at 5:45 a.m.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the people in Michael Court and Grovedale weren't too happy either, I don't reckon. Kids got up. We had a late night last night too. We went to a friend's house. I had a couple of sherbets and kids had a late night and kids are up at before 6. So I reckon I might have had something to do with that as well. But they'll learn. They'll have a good sleep in tomorrow morning before school. I hope. It's not my problem. Exactly. I'm going to work. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was that. And, yeah, the next probably 10 minutes after that was the crowd was just rocking. Like I said, you could feel the energy through the TV, and you know, for people that were there, like it would have been unreal. You were lucky enough, obviously, to go to the first game of the season and got to experience it firsthand. So you can actually put yourself there still, I think, and like imagine what it was like. So
yeah, mate. Yeah. Well, after we scored the share goal that I saw against Forest, the first one. I mean, the atmosphere was pumping before then, but when we were 1-0 up, the whole stadium was rocking, and that was a 3:00 Saturday afternoon game, first game of the season. I can't imagine how it would be on a Saturday night in Newcastle.
Under lights.
Under lights, I'm pretty sure the majority of the crowd would be heavily inebriated and and right up for it.
Confidence, confidence boosters all day long. They would.
Yeah. So I don't think the way we scored that goal and the whole vibe of the town, I don't think that would have quietened down anyone.
Oh, can you imagine what it would have been out like after the game? Like it just would have been. It literally would have been like a
Bedlam.
party city. Oh,
Bedlam.
If you're a single bloke,
the city would have been absolutely. Yeah, it'd be absolutely out of control. It probably still is right now. I mean, I think it's 9:30 in the morning on Sunday, but I'm pretty sure there's probably still Newcastle fans who are just making their way home after the celebrations from last night.
Yeah, might have been a few walks of shame in there as well. So good luck to anyone if you're waiting for a taxi or whatever. Jump in the comments. Let us know how your night went, and we'll be happy to read them out and relive your night through us, because as two happily married men now, you have to live your life through other people's triumphs, I guess. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Anyway, moving on. We'll go to the last 15 minutes. It was a very, it wasn't a, I wouldn't say it was a backs against the wall last 15 minutes, but we definitely just defended the game really, really well. Like, I don't even think they had a chance, like a clear-cut chance after we scored, which was massive. Like, it's hard to tell. Shah looked like he was carrying some kind of niggle for most of the game. He always seemed to be proppy and grabbing at his hamstring and stuff like that as well. Botman was huge again. And then I think he might have went over on his ankle in the last 5 minutes, which led to him going off and Matty Target come on and Burn shifted back to the left side of defence. How did you feel the last 15 minutes? Like, were you twitchy? Like, I don't know about you. Like I said, I'm still conditioned to be shit. Like, you couldn't. I don't reckon you could have got a sledgehammer and drove a toothpick up my ass the last 10 minutes. Like, I was that nervous and so twitchy. But how are you feeling about it all?
Yeah, you're right. It's for so many years watching Newcastle. There's not many games we've ever felt comfortable with any lead, let alone a 1-0 lead against the so-called bigger team.
Mid-table team.
So
mid-table team.
Yeah, oh, sorry, they're a mid-table team now, I should say. They're not a big team, but yeah, mid-table team Chelsea. But yeah, we're conditioned to be, oh shit, what's going to happen? We're going to cop a last-minute goal. It's going to be a penalty, or there's something's going to go wrong. We're just expecting something to go wrong. But I think, luckily, obviously, the players don't think like we do. But obviously, the calmness that we had in the final 10, 15 minutes, I think, was really good. Obviously, we weren't pressing as high as we were, which wasn't a bad thing. Chelsea weren't really creating much, but you can see the desperation that we had, and thank goodness in my mind that we didn't bring on my mate Jamal and we brought on Matty Target, because I think Big Dan Burn had a score to settle with Havertz after what happened last season.
Yeah. We'll carry on our receipts in about 5 or 10 minutes, so stick around for that. We've got GT Nut just here in the comments. Have you ever seen a defender as good as Botman at such a young age?
Great question. For us, no.
Oh yeah, I'll say for us as well.
Yeah,
but
so
yeah,
for us, no. I mean, the guy's an absolute beast. I mean, I don't think I've seen him probably been once 1-on-1, and that was against Haaland, who's a cyborg. So we're not going to count that. But the guy doesn't get beaten 1-on-1. He's quick enough. He's strong. He's great on the ball, and he's got that bit of mongrel about him as well, which I like, and you need that as a centre half. So yeah, I mean, the fact the kid's 22 years old or something is he's got future captain written all over him, that boy.
Yeah, the thing, like, you hear all this stuff from people who've watched him play, obviously, before he come to us, and there was that knock on his pace, and they weren't sure about his pace and stuff like that. But his decision making seemed to be his biggest asset, and that sort of covered off his perceived lack of pace, because he could read the game quicker, and he didn't rely on going 100% because he's watched the ball for that split second longer than they needed to, and he had to try and cover. But his poise is like ridiculous. Like, crosses coming in, he knows he's probably got a player behind him, just knock it back over his head for a corner, and like 6-yard box, like nothing phases him at all. Like, half the time you think he could just pull up a banana lounge, sit it on the top of the 18-yard box, and then just get off, put his pina colada down and quickly defend, and then ball goes back in our half. He gets back on his chair, gets his book out, has a sip of his pina colada again. Like, nothing phases him at all. And a lot of people say that Jonathan Woodgate's probably the best defender that they've seen play for us in their lifetime, which is, let's just, for argument's sake, say the last 20-odd years. And he didn't even play 20 games, like, through injury and stuff like that. So that's a massive call for people to say that. But if Botman keeps this form up after this World Cup break, and it's a stupid thing to say that he could be our best defender after one season, and he's going to be 22 years old. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Well, he's the sort of player I think you build a team around. I mean, when you got a commanding centre back like that, who's as good as he is on the ball and as calm as he's, like you said, I mean, the guy, nothing phases him. You can give him the ball under pressure, he'll turn, he'll make the right decision, like you said. It's a luxury to have someone like him, and obviously Cher as well, who's also good at the ball and carries it forward as well. It's a luxury to have that quality at the back, and he's only going to get better. I mean, he's still 22. He's still learning the game, learning himself, learning the league. He's only been here since the start of this season, so there's sky's the limit for that boy. And I was very surprised that he wasn't in the Dutch squad at least. I mean, obviously the Dutch have got a lot of depth at centre back, and they've got a good team and stuff like that. But I thought, at least in the 26, I thought his form, being in the top 3 Premier League team in the world, or top 3 team in the Premier League, one of the best teams in the world. Let's call it what it is in the first 6 months of the season.
Yeah, definitely.
You'd think he'd get a spot on the plane. So that's our gain. I think he's have a bit of rest now, and he can get ready for the second half of the year. But yeah, the sky's the limit for that boy.
Yeah, so I agree, but unfortunately Rico disagrees with us. He's got big Claudio. Claudio's the best one he's seen, so
Jesus.
We'll take that.
Claudio Casapa.
Yeah. So we sort of get to the end of the 90, and the referee holds up 7 minutes of injury time. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I've got no idea. Obviously, there was a couple of stoppages, and there was a few players who went down injured, or who, let's say, milked it a little bit for us. But 7 minutes is very rich. There was only one goal. Both teams didn't empty their benches. So, I mean, by letter of the law, I reckon he can go back and say, oh, here's a stoppage here, here's a stoppage there. But by that logic, every single game should have 7 or 8 minutes injury time, because there's going to be stoppage.
Yeah.
Every game, there's stoppages. The ball goes out, goal kicks, throw-ins. The referee isn't stopping his watch for every throw-in and every goal kick. So 7 was very rich, and yeah, wasn't too pleased with that.
How do you feel? I've seen this mentioned in other places and stuff like that. How would you feel like just a normal clock, where in the ground, if the ball goes out of play, whatever, the clock stops, and then as soon as there's no injury time, once it gets to 90, like, you let that phase of play finish, I guess, and then that's it, and then there's no.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
There's no grey area. There's no guessing and shit. Like VAR, all right, clock stops. There's no guessing and stuff like that.
I wouldn't mind it. It takes out the arbitrary referee pointing to his watch saying, "Oh yeah, I'm adding time on."
Yeah.
When they've got enough to worry about during the game, trying to get their decisions right, let alone tick their watch every 2 seconds about stopping the clock. So I wouldn't mind it, but whether that would ever go ahead, I'm not too sure. But yeah, 7 minutes was definitely a bit rich, and I think if 7 minutes were for this game this morning, I think, as I said, most games in the Premier League should be getting at least 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, I did have Anfield flashbacks as well when he held up the 7 minutes, and I'm like, oh, no. And then we'll fast forward a couple of minutes when BDB started. Well, I was going to say World War III. It's probably a little bit over the top, but what did you make of that last sort of minute, and then after the full-time whistle? So for those that hadn't seen it, I think Burn has been moved obviously into a centre-back role with Botman going off and Targett come onto the left. And Havertz was, I guess, trying to make a run in behind him, and he'd only just started it, and Burn steps across and sort of takes his line, and then, Havertz goes down like a toodle hooker, and then the lines. I think the ref missed it. The linesman's waving his flag like he's in the bloody referee cheer squad, and they've just kicked a goal as well. And then all shit sort of started breaking loose. What did you think then?
Yeah, I wasn't pleased when I saw the linesman wave his flag like a daisy out there. I wasn't too pleased. Havertz, I think, was trying. He was.
I was gonna say he was waving like he was pre-game in the Gallagher. He was a lot.
Yeah. Maybe it was part of the. Maybe he missed the memo. The display was about 90 minutes earlier, but
pre-game.
Yeah. But nah, look, he did check his run. But you're right, Havertz went down way too easy. I just think it just showed the desperation for Chelsea. They knew they weren't creating anything. They knew they weren't getting in behind us, and the game was most likely going to end in defeat. So they had to try something to get a set piece, get under our skin, do something out of the ordinary to rattle us. And obviously didn't rattle BDB because they only got him more fired up. And by the time the whistle ends, I'm pretty sure he went up to Havertz and gave it to him.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's like you said, that kicked off after the game.
Well, just before that, remember your mate Big Jamal managed to get himself.
Yeah, Jamal got a book. Yeah, I mean, Jamal's just he's just standing there minding his own business, and the guy's just trying to do a throw-in, and the referee comes in and gives Jamal a yellow card. I don't think I've seen.
Was it Cucurella?
3 yellow cards. Yeah, Cucurella. Yeah, Cucurella was standing there waiting to take a throw. And Jamal maybe been too close or whatever he was, and then referees come over.
I reckon he might have been.
Jamal's like,
no, I reckon he was whispering some sweet nothings into him just before he was going to take it as well. But that's not a yellow card. Like if you booked someone for sweet nothings all the time, you'd have to get your shoulders taped up because you'd be throwing cards around.
Yeah.
Like they were no.
Well, they're allowed to warm up.
That's where they warm up
anyway. So.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure what the issue was. You're right. He might have said something, or he might have been a bit cheeky. And like you said, Chelsea were rattled, so they were reacting to everything we were doing. And in that last passage of play, there was a lot of tackles flying in. I think Bruno tried to scissor someone down. Longstaff completely tried to just kill somebody.
So he got booked, but it wasn't. He thought it was for a foul. But that was a foul, but he wasn't actually booked for that foul. He was booked for the flying tackle he put in about 30 or 45 seconds earlier. Yeah. And then he sort of started complaining to the ref like, man, that's not a yellow card. And the ref went, no, that was for that one. He goes, okay, I'll cop that. Yeah, that's yellow then. Like, so it did get a bit saucy right at the end, and then the whistle went, and then Havertz is trying to be a tough guy now and stuff like that. And I couldn't see the number. Who was the little guy who started pushing Burn as well? It looked like he come up to like his waist. No, he had his kit on. I can't remember.
Well, I know Mendy was getting involved. I know the keeper.
No, it wasn't Mendy. No, he was a white guy. Definitely white guy, short hair. I can't remember who it was, and then as we've seen, and as GT's noted as well, as soon as it kicks off, the first bloke in, the big enforcer, Big Joe, and Eddie said this during press conferences and stuff like that, like, we're going to stick up for each other here, and that's exactly what they did. He got involved. I think Murphy got himself.
He was one of the first to get in as well. Yeah. I'm not sure he was going to do. I'm not sure what Murphy was going to do, but he was.
He was going to stand behind Big Joe and start pointing and shouting behind Big Joe. I reckon. And if I was Murphy, I'd be doing the exact same thing. I might even pull Burn in front of me as well, and then you're lucky they're holding me back. Otherwise,
one of those ones. Hold me back. Hold me back.
No. You want to go? Let's go. We'll go to the parking lot. Come on. Yeah, you're lucky they're holding me back, mate. Like that's Jake and Murphy. And hand on heart, I'd be doing the exact same thing as Jake and Murphy. They're all really tough guys because they know that nothing's ever going to happen, and no one's going to.
Yeah, no, it's all handbags in the end, but especially after the whistle. But I mean, Havertz isn't the strongest or the tallest of lads. I mean, him trying to arc up to BDB, who's 6'7", built like a brick house. I'm pretty sure that was only going to end one way. So
on his home turf, family and friends
on his
there.
home
Like,
turf.
mate,
Exactly
he's
right.
not going to roll over for you, mate. And after that elbow last year at Stamford Bridge, should have got sent off.
Oh, yeah.
And ended up scoring the winner.
Yep.
I think, like you said, I think
Yep.
Big DB had a few receipts he
Karma.
had to keep. Yep. And isn't that a wonderful thing? Karma is a
Absolutely,
beautiful
mate.
thing.
Absolutely. It showed as well, that last little passage, it showed how desperate we were holding on. I mean, the tackles were flying in. Lascelles was getting booked. BDB was fired up. And when that brouhaha sort of ended, you could see Byrne, Pope, and Joe, they just ran towards the Leazes end and started punching the air, saying, like...
Oh, yeah, they're jumping and all.
we
Hey,
won. Really showing Chelsea now.
Did you notice...
Like, get fucked, we won.
On the full-time whistle, and everyone was sort of gushing over, I guess, to try and put these little spot fires out that are breaking out. Who was the main guy in there? The Mad Dog Tyndall. Yeah, he was front and center trying to get blokes out. I'm like, oh my God, look at him. My God, glistening in the evening lights, glowing as a solid, probably 6.5, 7 coat of varnish. And then give it the big one to the Leazes as well after it all sort of died down. We'll look at a few stats that we've got. End of game stats. We've got possession, which was sort of surprising. 49%, us 51 them. We had 10 shots to their 5, 3 shots on target to their 2, 5 corners for us, 3 for them, and we had 14 fouls. They had 11. Was there anything that sort of stood out for you? I thought the possession one was a bit surprising. I thought we definitely had a lot more of the ball than what they did.
It definitely felt like we controlled the ball and had a lot more of the possession. That might have been skewed by that last 10, 15 minutes when we sat a little bit deeper and didn't press as high. So potentially that might have skewed the stats. But yeah, 49, 51, it's virtually even, but it definitely felt like we were in control of the ball for the majority of the game and on top in terms of possession and also territory.
Yeah, I think sometimes I'd like to see a breakdown of where they have their possession. So
yeah,
I mean, I think a lot of it, because we pinned them back and they didn't really offer much going forward. Like, I think a lot of their possession might have been in their defensive third and sort of knocking it around, and we're not really phased by that. Once they sort of start coming forward, then we'll press up and force the issue. But during my getting lost in Twitter wormholes and vortexes and things like that, I found out that so for all their possession, Chelsea only had 7 touches in our box the whole game, which was their lowest tally since January this year when they played Man City. So that's a that's a fair indication of what threat or lack of threat, I guess, they posed for us during the game.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it did feel that way too. I mean, even with the possession, as we can see, it was basically 50-50. It did feel like most of their ball was trying to pass their way out of defense or their keeper going short to their fullbacks. It wasn't any progressive possession that we were sort of felt threatened by or in danger of. So yeah, that's a great stat, and it just shows again how good we are as a unit, not just the back four. That the midfield
starts at the front.
Exactly, the midfield and the attack are pressing so well that the ball's not even getting to our 18-yard box for anyone to create chances. So yeah, kudos to Eddie and Mad Dog and the whole team
Mad Dog.
getting everyone everyone in sync.
We just got Adam in the comments here. He'd love a top 4, but he thinks it might put too much pressure on Eddie Howe. How do you feel about that? So I don't think he feels the external pressure. I think the pressure, especially after listening to that high performance podcast, the most pressure he gets is from the pressure he puts on himself.
Yeah, I heard that. It's,
yeah, that was a great podcast too. Suggest all the people watching or listening, and they after you finish listening to all our podcasts, definitely jump onto the High Performance podcast and listen to the Eddie Howe one. It's a great insight into him as a person, as a manager, and you can see how driven he is, and the success he's getting is probably no secret because of his work ethic. So that old saying, Dimmy, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And that's what's happening at the moment. We've also got Rico in the comments. Where are we finishing?
Maybe third. Maybe third's our spot. Maybe
We're happy
Man City
where we
and
are.
Arsenal look like, well, we are. We'll take third. We'll take third from here. Well, we'll take fourth. I mean, we'll take, to be honest,
Yeah.
if you offered us now and we said we're going to finish fifth even, I'd probably take fifth. But
yeah,
where we are now and the fact that the teams below us don't seem to be, not that they're not a threat, but they're not out of our league, so to speak. We're not incapable of matching them or beating them. So definitely top six, I think, is not a given, but looks pretty likely the way we're going at this stage. And yeah, top four just definitely should be the aim from now, I think.
Forgive my lack of memory, what was your preseason prediction, given your history being our local oracle, I guess?
Not according to some on this podcast. There's
Roy,
certain
Leroy not happy with you at all.
No,
No,
Leroy,
name him.
He's
Name
not.
him.
Leroy is not happy with my my stats that I produced last week, but no, look, my predictions have been half decent, but I think I said we're going to finish 8th and a cup run, I believe. It was 7th or 8th. I can't remember, to be honest, but top 8, probably the start of the season, everyone would have said, fantastic, what a great season. But as the year's gone on, you've seen Liverpool haven't been as flash. Chelsea are struggling. Man United are up and down. Tottenham similar, and West Ham haven't been around. Leicester, the other teams that would normally be
Wolves
challenging for the Wolves.
Yeah.
The other teams will be challenging for that bottom part of the top 5, 6, 7. They're not around there. So not the stars are aligning and it's a dream run for us, but I think a lot of things are going our way this season. It could be a perfect time to strike to jump into that top 4.
Yeah. If you're watching and that, jump in the comments. Let us know where you think we were going to finish, but where do you think we can finish now? I'll just on that, I'll bring up the table. Wow, we're still third. It's crazy, and I actually can't believe that we are where we are. For what it's worth, I thought we'd finish 7th. A lot of people said 8th, and I was like, well, if we can finish 8th, why can't we finish 7th? It didn't make no sense. And looking at the teams that finished above us last year, your Wolves, Leicester, West Ham, Brighton, I thought we'd be better than all them. West Ham, maybe. I thought West Ham would probably stay in 6th, but I thought, why can't we finish 7th? Like, we'll be better. We'll be better than them. We signed a couple of good players in Pope and Botman and stuff as well. So West Ham also signed a few players, so that sort of made me lead. Well, they'll probably stay 6th, and they had a pretty good season last year. So I said 7th, but I'd be actually looking at the table now. I'd be kind of upset if we finish 7th. I think we're a top 6 team, and we play like a top 6 team. All our stats and our numbers suggest we're a top 6 team. Like, we're not there by fluke and RC results. So yeah, I definitely think that that we should be aiming for top 4, absolutely top 4. And I don't buy into the thought process of we've got to, we might be too early for the Champions League and we don't have the squad and stuff like that. I'm pretty confident that we're not just going to sit on our hands in the summer and sign just a couple of players. Like, if we make the Champions League, I think we'll go out and make at least 4 or 5 quality signings. And we've seen with the players who are played so far this year, if they do get bumped out down to the bench, they're more than capable of playing and performing, at least in the Premier League. But for those who are listening, I'll just quickly read out the table. Arsenal top with 37 points after their win this morning at the Molineux. Man City second on 32 points. The Mighty Mags, Eddie Howe's Mighty Mags are third on 30 points. We've got Tottenham below us on 29. They keep jamming tin-ass results out, which is really starting to boil my piss. But
Yep.
I wish they'd just go away. Man United, actually, they're fifth on 23 points, but I believe they've got a couple of – they play tonight, our time.
Fulham away.
So, Fulham away, which will be a tough game. Fulham have shown they're no pushovers at home this year until Eddie Howe's Mighty Mags hit the town and they roll over and have their belly tickled like everyone else has been. With Liverpool in sixth on 22 points, they're starting to sort of put a few results together as well. Brighton seventh on 21 and Chelsea mid-table also on 21 points as well. So, I mean, you look at that sort of top eight, and the only team we've lost against was Liverpool, and even that was in really controversial circumstances, and that still doesn't sit well. I don't know about you, but it still doesn't sit well with me.
I reckon that doesn't sit well with Eddie as well. I think the return bout is in February sometime, and I'm pretty sure Champions
That'll
League
be box office.
I'm pretty sure Champions League kicks off around that time. So Liverpool are going to have bigger fish to fry against Real Madrid, and they're not going to want to come to St James's Park and face us again, I reckon.
Yeah, so I think, judging by that top eight, Arsenal's the only team we haven't actually played yet. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
we've beaten Tottenham, beaten Chelsea, and draws with everybody else. But I think we play the Gunners just after the World Cup break. I think we play them second or third after the break.
We've got Foxy. He was sort of similar along you, mate. He was happy with a top nine, a decent cup run, but now shackles are off, lids off, and we're not going to lose a game at home for the rest of the year. So I'm all about it. What else we got here? We've got Liam. First half, we had 71% possession, so then stats do seem skewed. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought the same thing. And, yeah, top six as well. So good on you. And also brings up a great point. We're going to have 2 transfer windows before European games, so we've got plenty of time to get some players in. Do you think, although we did spend a bit last January and in the summer as well, do you think we're going to, given our league position, sort of splash a bit more in January and try and solidify that and sort of entrench ourselves into that top 4 and potential Champions League next season?
Yes, I definitely think we're going to make signings, and I think we'll probably make at least 2 quality first team signings. I mean, last January I think we had five ins: Trippier, Bruno, Burn, Wood, and Target. So it was five coming in. I don't think we're going to get 5 new players this January, but 2 quality players.
Yeah. Like someone who can really probably enhance our 11, our best 11, and also that then adds more depth because the guys that are playing will drop to the bench and stuff like that as well. Yeah. So I hopefully, and I mean they haven't missed yet. So whatever they do in the transfer window, I'm going to back them. And we've got another good point here that we do have Isak to come back. All reports he's groin injury. Oh no, quad. It was a quad. I think it was a quad, wasn't it?
With Isaac. Yeah, it was thigh or quad. Yeah, thigh or quad.
Yeah, same shit. I think it's the same thing. You just call it a different name. But we we thought he'd be back already, but I think he's had an injection, which is kind of weird. Like you don't really hear of injections into quads and stuff like that. But he seems to be tracking well and should be ready to go once, barring no setbacks, once the season resumes after the World Cup. I actually forgot to read out this stat. Our 30-point mark after 15 games, we've only done that twice in the Premier League. So this was the third time it happened, and the other times were in 94, 95, and 95, 96. So, yeah. Also got a comment from big fan Lee, Dimmy, with another terrible score prediction. He just can't help himself.
He can't help himself now.
Did
And
you predict the win though, or did
I
you
definitely
predict the
predicted the
draw?
win. I predicted 2-0 win, and so I was halfway there. But I don't think Lee comprehends the prediction. There's obviously a score prediction, but you have to get the actual result right as well. So
Yes,
I got the
correct.
result right, Lee. So up yours.
Also, it just reminded me then, actually, one of the comments from earlier, I can't remember who it was. I might just have a quick look. Also, come January 1st, we've got the big Garansky. He'll be here. He'll be on Tyneside come January 1. So for those who are watching as well, he played his last game before he obviously got selected for the World Cup for the Socceroos, and then his last game for the Mariners, which was his club in Australia here. Once again, come on as a sub. They were 2-0 down. Is that right? When he come on down to
Yep,
10
2
men,
for yep.
2-0 down, and he's come on, scored a brace, a penalty, which was a great penalty as well. Didn't come off the long run like Bruno did. Stop, start, stutter, in swinger, out swinger, over the bar. He just a real thunder bastard in, and then his second goal was absolute quality. For those who haven't seen it, I think we've shared a link possibly on our socials, on our Twitter and stuff like that. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, jump onto our socials and give it a watch. I mean, I think, given his raw talent, he's going to be anything.
He's a special talent, and every time he comes on the pitch, he does something. Whether it's for the Mariners or his first game for the Socceroos, he's just got that something special about him. And yeah, his second goal this afternoon was absolutely outstanding. And hopefully Eddie gives him a chance in January. I have a feeling he may loan him out, which is fair enough. But if he tears it up the World Cup and drags Australia out of the group stage, I think we may be rethinking
Mate,
the plans about Garansky.
If he drags us out of the group stage, he'll be Sir Garang Cole by the end of January.
Knight him,
Mate.
knight him,
Like,
exactly right.
Yeah,
Knight him.
yeah. So we've also got it, just a quote on here from Foxy. This one has been floated. He's Andre Santos from Vasco in Brazil was I think he's a young central defensive midfielder as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
which could potentially one for the future, but if he shows a bit as well, the type of player who could sit in that defensive midfield role and sort of push Bruno further forward. So he's definitely one to watch out for. And I think with Dan Ashworth, his track record, they're going to be very high on signing really bright young talent. And with what we're doing at the moment, I think it's going to be a really, really positive place to want to come and play. We got a comment also from Superfan Lee. He knew you were going to claim the results. So, yeah. And Peter here about Pedro. I'm not sure. We'll go back in for Pedro. Let's talk about Madison as well. Who else?
I don't think. I don't think. Yeah. On that comment from Peter, I don't reckon we'll go in for Pedro. He has had a great start to the season for Watford by all reports, and he's got a lot of talent about him. But I think the position we're in now, entrenched, let's say in the top four, I think the signings that we're going to be looking to make are going to be first 11 quality first team signings. Not Pedro may develop into that, but I don't think he'd come in from Watford and walk into our team, and I don't think he'd walk into this team. So as good as Pedro has been going for Watford, I think that might be one for the summer, if anything, just because in January there's going to be limited funds for us. I think any players we go for will be a first team player.
Also got a comment here. Do you know what minutes Garang needs to get a work permit? I'm not 100% sure if it's a minutes thing. I know definitely him making his Socceroos debut did help with that. But yeah, I'm with Dimmy. I'm pretty sure that the plan is to loan him out the word that we've heard from down here is going to be a side in Portugal. Not sure if that's still on the cup and stuff like that. But given he hasn't he never actually started a professional game, which is pretty crazy. He's been picked for a World Cup and never actually started a game professionally. Is pretty wild. So that gives you a bit of an indication of his potential and what people who work closely with him seeing him. And if you haven't, I really encourage you to go and watch or listen to our chat with Craig Carley, coach at Shepparton before he went to Central Coast. He gives some great insights on Garang and what he's like as a player, as a young kid learning as well. And I think sometimes we forget that he's fresh, and I think that makes what he does or what he's been doing even more remarkable. What else have we got? We got Lee here as well. Is there anything official about the Fly Saudi deal? I haven't seen anything, but I've definitely seen the signs up during the game. Did you see them, Demi?
Yeah, I saw the advertising boards, but nothing announced so
yeah,
far.
on the rolling. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've not seen any announcements. We've got I forgot to ask, man of the match. If you got man of the match, if you're watching in the comments, definitely fling us your man of the match. Who would you give the 3 votes to?
I'd probably say Big Botman. I think he was impenetrable at the back, and there wasn't the usual quality, I think, from Bruno in the middle to give it to him, or Miggy didn't score another wonder goal this week. So I think Big Botman.
Yeah, I'd give it to Willock. I thought Willock his goal was great, but I think the last week he was fantastic, and I think he's been really great the last probably 6 weeks. I know people did definitely have their doubts on him and weren't sure about him at the start of the year, but I think the last sort of 6 weeks he's been immense, and I'm glad he's actually got some goals and stuff like that. I think he had the highest XG in the league without actually scoring it for a midfielder. So yeah, I'm glad he could get his flowers. Rico's got Nick Pop is his man of the match. Leroy has got Miggy, Willock, and Trips man of the match. I'm not sure that was the question, Lee. It was just a man.
It was not the question.
If you could just pick one of them three.
Yeah.
Yeah. Craig, another big fan of the Willock was his man of the match as well. So Craig switched on. He knows his stuff, so he agrees with me. Just before we go, we touched on it at the start when we read the lineups out and stuff like that. ASM, obviously a sub at the moment, and didn't actually get out on the turf during the game. Where's he at the moment?
I think he needs a bit of loving from Eddie, and I think a 2 or 3 week training camp that we're going to go through before the season starts again, I think it's going to be perfect for him. He seems to be a little bit, and from all reports he was very keen to make the World Cup squad, and obviously that was very far fetched from you probably think he's never going to make that France team. So that probably didn't help his confidence levels, and obviously he's been injured. He's been in and out of the team a bit this season. I still think he's got a huge part to play for us the second half of the season. He's that X factor player that we don't really have. He's a player that can go past, make something out of nothing, really, that probably no one else can on our pitch. I mean, Murphy works hard. Miggy's been scoring wonder goals, but I think ASM is definitely someone that we can utilize in the second half of the season. You only have to go back to that game against Man City, where he ripped them apart, and that's Man City, who's probably the best team in Europe. So definitely don't think he's done in NUFC, and I do think he's got a big part to play in the second half of the year.
Yeah, so I mentioned in our group chat, at the moment, I've got him as our third choice left winger. Like, obviously, part of that's because of his injury and stuff like that, but he looks out of shape at the moment, and I think he can be trusted to play, and he can't play at the intensity as like a Joelinton or a Jacob Murphy does when they play out on that wing, and that's what's demanded of that position now. Is you've got to have intensity. You've got to have it for at least 70 minutes, and it's going to be high. And you're going to have to defend. And then as soon as we win the ball back, you're going to have to go, and it's going to be non-stop for that time. And I don't think he's like when they say he's fit, like I think he's not actually fit. So he's fit as in he's not injured, so he's available for selection, but I don't think his fitness levels are where they need to be able to start. And I don't think that the coaches can trust him to play in that position and perform the role what he needs to in that system, as well as a Joelinton. And as much as Jacob Murphy has his knockers, he plays that role better than what ASM does. So I agree with you. Then the next month, I think, is going to be really crucial to his time with us and how he's going to fit into this journey that we're on. And Rico, unfortunately, doesn't see him. He doesn't think he's got him. He's got the bit between the teeth to take it on and be on that journey. But I just think he's not the player we need at the moment. We can't have that. I think he's a luxury player, and I think the stuff he did at Man City was fantastic, and that was a great game. But unfortunately, even towards the last year as well, his good games and his sort of bag, he was like a 1 in 5, sort of a really, really game, and then you barely see him for another 2, 3, 4 games after that, and then he'd produce another fantastic game. And I think we need consistency and we need to be reliable at the moment. And I kind of agree with this comment as well. Bringing ASM on yesterday would have impacted our defence, and he wasn't the right sub for the game.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So I think, oh shit, there's a bit of thunder outside. It scared the shit out of me. If we were 1-0 down, I think he would have been the perfect sub to come on and in that last 15, 20 minutes and really impact the game. But yeah, I 100% agree with that. I don't think he was the right guy for us at that point in time for the game yesterday. I thought Murphy was the right move to make and the right lever to pull. Another super fan, Lee. Who else would ASM sort of suit in the league? Just before you answer that, if we did sell him, what's he on the open market?
I reckon we can get 40 million for him at least. I mean, someone with that natural.
I don't think that much.
Yeah. Why not?
Oh no, I don't reckon he's worth. I don't think he's if Bruno's 35.
Yeah, but Bruno was a steal because he was playing at Lyon, probably a bit off Broadway.
Oh, you've got Premier League tax as well.
Yeah. I just think Maxi's best. Maxi's best has been shown, and his best is going to be one of the top players in the league. So just on that potential, I think we can get probably 40 plus million for him, I reckon.
Yeah, so I reckon 30 tops. I mean, how old is he? He'd be near on 30, wouldn't he?
He's mid-20s.
Would he be? He's in mid-20s. Okay, well, that might. But his injury record hasn't been great the last 18 months as well, so that's probably a knock on him too. I reckon if someone offered 30, they'd probably take it.
Well,
but yeah, it's definitely this World Cup break. I think is going to be either make or break his career with us. If he can get himself back to a fitness level that's going to be able to play in that position and deliver what the Joelinton or Jacob Murphy does, he'll play every week, and it's not even close. And he'll be, I definitely believe, with the coaching and stuff like that, he'll be the player that Eddie Howe and Tyndall and all the rest of them, he can be the best version of himself. They'll bring that out in him, but it's up to him to do the work to get himself physically right to sort of play that play that role. What else we got here? Yeah, Dan, he does suit playing teams who sit back and don't defend and press high as well. So if he does get caught out, it's sort of he doesn't get exposed as much as well. So yeah, that'll just about do it, I reckon, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for watching and interacting and listening. If you're listening to us later on, really appreciate it. Like we said off the top, if you could give us a like and a comment and stuff like that, helps us out massively as well. Our membership stuff, it's just see it on the bottom ticker there. If you're listening, it's $1.50 a month or 85 pence a month in the UK. And once again, that helps us out massively. There's a few running costs and sort of a little bit expensive to do what we do. So yeah, any little help and stuff like that is very greatly appreciated. Our podcast, if you're listening to us on your podcast provider, give us a 5-star rating and leave a comment. That also sort of helps. Dimmy, you got anything else for us, mate, before we sign off? Hit the hay.
No, not too much. Just enjoy the ladder. Keep looking at it for the next 6 weeks until the World Cup comes back. Until we come back after the World Cup, and let's see what we can do in the second half of the year.
Yeah, I'm not sure about what the UK subscription stuff's like, but definitely if you're in Australia, we've got 15. We've got probably 10 good mini matches we can cover ourselves and pass the time for the next 6 weeks. We can watch and relive and make our competitions and whose was better and player of the year and stuff like that. But that's definitely something, especially over the break, we're going to be looked to doing a few more live shows because we love the interaction and stuff like that. And we've definitely got a few interviews lined up as well. So we won't be signing off or taking a break during the World Cup. We're going to keep trying to pump content out because we love what we do and we think we do pretty good stuff. So people like listening to us. So yeah, keep your eyes and ears peeled over the next sort of 5-6 weeks with what we've done. We've definitely got some good stuff up and love for you to join us and listen to us and stuff like that as well. So that'll just about do us, Dimmy. Thank you very much again, mate. Get yourself to bed. Go make yourself a cup of Milo. Put the feet up. Put your dressing gown on. Make sure the Lambo's locked and undercover because it sounds like there's a storm coming across. So
I can hear it. Yeah, it's about to heave. It's about to heave outside my house now. I can hear it, but
yeah,
that's all right.
It's just started.
It's a good weekend.
Yeah, we're still smiling. We're still third. Life's good. And don't worry about the missus waking up. She's not going to break up with you. That's my philosophy. So she might be mad for a few hours, but she's not going to break up with you. So everything's good. Cool. So yeah, that's it, mate. Thanks again. Thanks everyone for watching, listening. And we'll see you next time. Thanks very much. And enjoy what's left of your day. If you're in the UK, if you're we're nighttime here, nighttime, have a good sleep. If you're in the afternoon somewhere else, have a good rest of the day. Don't forget to watch the replay again. And we'll see you probably, if not the end of this week, definitely the start of next week with another big show. Catch us all later. See you, Dimmy.
See you, mate.